Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name's Miles from Fight Division, and in this video we are going to be breaking down who wins between Superbon and Smokin Jo Nattawu this weekend on One Fight's Lumpinee.
Yeah, let's see how you do under pressure.
This isn't just another fight, this is a fight between two of the most elite and biggest names in combat sports history. I think the big question is, will Superbon's precision and techniques be too much for the relentless aggression of Jo Nattawu, or will Jo Nattawu just overwhelm Superbon? We've seen Superbon get overwhelmed and KO'd before by these high pressure fighters, but we've also seen Jo Nattawu being knocked out by some pretty heavy high kicks, which is Superbon's wheelhouse, almost like his special move, to be fair. They say that style makes fights, and these two really bring the heat. We're going to go in pretty deep about the details of this epic clash and bring you all the details you need to know before you watch on Friday. Let's talk about Superbon. Now, anyone worth their salt in Muay Thai knows who Superbon is. I feel like his aesthetic style is super pleasing to watch. Some of the most ferocious high kick KOs that you've ever seen. One of the elite strikers. One that has took a little bit of a deviated career for a Thai, to be fair. Not straight Muay Thai. He's fought in kickboxing, K1, and made his name in those sports, to be fair, by beating some of the GOATs like Petrosian with a vicious head kick. He's the former one kickboxing featherweight world champion. As for most fighters in Thailand, he comes from a Muay Thai family. He was fighting from the age of 6. He's had over 140-50 fights, beating some of the best names in the game. People like Sitachai, the kickboxing GOAT, Giorgio Petrosian. He's also fought Marat Grigorian. And one thing that not a lot of people know is that he actually fought the British head coach of Northern Kings Newcastle, Craig Jose. That fight is actually on YouTube, so shout out to Craig Jose, because it just shows what an elite level fighter he was. Probably not given the credit he deserves. I mean, let's talk about the major standout moment. For me, the one where Superbon really cemented himself as one of the elite strikers was that head kick KO against Giorgio Petrosian. A fight that was, you know, build up to be elite kickboxer, two of the best in the world, and to just write off your opponent, just to write off such an experienced opponent and one of the greats like that, was a real stamp for Superbon and his career. I think there's very few fighters in the world that have the timing that Superbon has. I think there's only two that I can think of, really. You're talking about Superbon with the high kicks. I also think Superlek has some of the best timing. And between them, you know, Pampayek used to as well, to be fair. So maybe there's a Superlek Pampayek, you know, sort of offering there, which we'd love to see. But I think in terms of timing, in terms of technicals, Superbon is up there with the greatest, not just of this era, but of all eras. That head kick against Giorgio Petrosian didn't only just win him the world title, it also won him one championship knockout of the year 2021. Sensational. I think it's very difficult to pinpoint a weakness in Superbon's arsenal, to be fair. Recently I saw an interview and he was talking about he's enjoying the fact and relishing the fact that in this fight he's going to be able to use his knees and his elbows a lot more than you can do in the kickboxing. He's actually a really good clincher. So from Jo Nattawu's point of view, you've really got to bring the heat and put it on Superbon, I believe. On the other side, we've got Smokin Jo Nattawu, whose nickname I just absolutely love. Pays homage to the boxing legend Smokin Jo Fraser. The Thailand Smokin Jo brings the heat with his relentless pressure, powerful shots, especially in them 4-ounce gloves. Is a dangerous, dangerous man. Like I said before, a lot of the Thai fighters were sort of indoctrinated into Muay Thai from an early age, and Smokin Jo is exactly the same, fighting from a very young age, racking up the fights, 100 plus fights, 200 plus fights. Like, these boys know how to fight, and to see two of the elites go at it is sensational. Smokin Jo actually moved to the US in 2013 and is based out there, had several fights out there, and actually 3 out of his first 5 one championship fights came by victory of knockout. Smokin Jo himself has fought Giorgio Petrosian twice on one. He actually got beat both times, but he's beat elite level strikers like Sami Sana. He's fought Tawanchai, he got beat by Tawanchai, but it just goes to show the levels that he's actually operating at. His last fight versus Luke Leslie from America was the chef, was an absolute war. Just standing and banging, like the ebb and the flow of the fight. Luke came back, Joe came back, like it was a crazy, crazy fight. Very entertaining. What makes Smokin Jo very dangerous is obviously he's laced in them 4-ounce gloves, and his style is just relentless pressure. He's right in your face, he's throwing bombs to the head, to the body. He forces it exchanges and forces his opponent to either change the game plan or just, panic under the pressure that he's putting on. The sheer volume and power is relentless, especially in those 4-ounce gloves. Quick breakdown of the fight styles there just goes to show that this clash is going to be a classic. In my opinion, Superbon is the definition of a cerebral fighter, a master at keeping his distance and working within that distance to, devastating effect, hurting, knocking out his opponent. If you remember the knockout against Petrosian, I think he threw a couple of body shots to almost, goad Petrosian in, landing them heavy, and then after Petrosian got used to taking them on the arm, went upstairs and obviously got the devastating knockout. It reminds me a bit of a chess master. He's beautiful to watch, but also knows exactly when to strike. He seems to always be 2 steps ahead of his opponent, and his ability to maneuver and almost gauge his opponent's reaction is what makes him so dangerous. Then you've got Smokin Jo, who is literally, I wouldn't say the opposite because he is still a technical fighter, but he is just relentless pressure. Constantly pressing forward and pressing, constantly putting his opponent on the back foot, throwing bombs. He's not particularly bothered about getting hit as long as he gets you, and the likelihood is he's going to get you. He almost thrives in the chaotic exchanges, and with them 4-ounce gloves, manages to throw shots to the body and to the head. He's a difficult man to shake off and a difficult man to hurt. I think this is where the beauty is actually with Superbon's distance control and Smokin Jo Nattawu being able to close that distance and thrive in those exchanges, and that distance makes it a sensational fight. I think Superbon said this himself. One of the incredible things about Smokin Jo is that he's able to blend Western style boxing and kickboxing quite seamlessly into a Muay Thai style to devastating effect. As we've discussed, 2 elite level operators that work in completely different distances, and I think distance control and who can capitalize on that distance is going to win this fight. Superbon to me is a bit like a sniper. He's got a full arsenal. I mean, it's very interesting to hear him say he's looking forward to using elbows and knees. Be interesting to see if he brings that to his game. But from my, as a fan, I see him as almost like a sniper, waiting for his opponent to, hurting his opponent from distance, waiting for him to make a mistake, and then either set something up, setting up the feints, setting up the shots, and then just blowing people's wigs off essentially with what is a devastating high kick. It'd be interesting to know if he lands that high kick. One thing that I can't shake from my head is that Smokin Jo was knocked out by a similar high kick by one championship fighter, Özil, on Lion Fight years ago. And Joe leaned to his left and Özil delivered a right hook that missed, but then followed right behind with a right high kick and absolutely flatlined Smokin Jo. So, the blueprint is almost there for Superbon, and it's a technique and it's a style of KO that we've seen Superbon do against some of the greatest fighters in the world. So I can't shake that knockout in Smokin Jo's career off, because I believe that could be the key for Superbon. In the same respect, Smokin Jo's job is to close that distance. He's going to need to cut that ring and get in Superbon's face and start unloading. Maybe even low kicks to stop Superbon's movement and kicks. But he needs to put himself in a position where he's able to unload the relentless shots. Another thing I've just mentioned about Smokin Jo getting knocked out by Özil on Lion Fight, another thing that sticks with me is that Superbon was actually knocked out by Alazov in a very similar style, where he put on the pressure, got in his face and started unloading. And again, as much as that Özil knockout for Superbon gives him a little bit of hope, I think that knockout should be a blueprint for Smokin Jo to go after Superbon. I think at this level, they're all elite strikers, and you've just got to say it's who can impose their will, who can impose the game plan, and who can, any one of them could knock each other out. It's who can actually implement the game plan to a point where it's effective against the other opponent, whether it's slowing them down and hurting them later on in the rounds, or, delivering devastating shots. Both are capable of doing it. It's very interesting to see who will actually do it. So a quick brush over, very easy to summarise and generalise like this, but it does come down to precision versus power. It's the classic question of what's more dangerous: the precision, the technicality of Superbon, the high kicks, the clean, the crispness, the sort of elite striking that we all love to see, or is it going to be the power, the relentlessness, and just the sheer determination and will of Smokin Jo and, the boulders he has in them 4-ounce gloves? If you were to ask me who do I think is going to win, who do I want to win, I'm probably a bigger fan of Superbon just because of his clean, technical style. I love Smokin Jo, obviously. I think he brings a lot of entertainment. You need fighters that have different styles. I think, You know, that's where the real magic in Muay Thai and combat sports is. If you can have different styles fighting off against each other, you know, that's what we all love. In the 4-ounce gloves, Smokin Jo, I think it's leveled slightly because Smokin Jo can hurt someone in those gloves. But on the same respect, you know, I see how hard Superbon works on Instagram. Obviously, everyone's grafting, but you know, he's got a trainer gi, he's got all the, you know, he really puts in the miles and the graft, as well as being super clean and super technical. I'm not looking past Superbon on this one. And that knockout on Smokin Jo on Lion Fight where he leant to the left, I think that plays in nicely to Superbon, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a Superbon KO. That being said, Smokin Jo, a dangerous, dangerous man, and you cannot write him off. So there you have it, guys. Superbon versus Smokin Jo, precision versus power. Dangerous matchup. Can't wait to see it. Don't miss it. Friday the 27th of September. And if you enjoyed this video, guys, appreciate you watching. Make sure you like, subscribe and comment. Keep an eye out for the content we've got coming soon, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Yeah, I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra.